Have you ever felt an inexplicable pull towards someone? That invisible thread connecting your soul to theirs? Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, revealed a profound truth about human connection that transcends physical touch. He discovered that deep within our spiritual essence lies a magnetism so powerful it can draw another person closer without a single physical gesture.
This wasn't merely a metaphysical concept to Cayce. It was a practical spiritual mechanism operating in the subtle realms where souls communicate beyond words and physical interaction. In his trance-like states, Cayce accessed wisdom that unveiled how our thoughts, intentions, and spiritual vibrations create energetic bridges between souls. Today, we'll explore his remarkable insights into this spiritual magnetism, a force that might forever change how you understand your deepest connections.
Edgar Cayce's journey into the mysteries of human connection began long before he became America's most documented psychic. As a young man in Kentucky, he noticed something peculiar in his interactions with others. Some people seemed naturally drawn to him, while with others, an invisible wall existed despite his best efforts. This observation planted a seed of curiosity that would later blossom into profound spiritual insights during his psychic readings.
"The mind is indeed the builder," Cayce would often say during his readings. This simple phrase contained a universe of meaning when applied to human relationships. According to Cayce, every thought we hold about another person creates an energetic imprint that travels across the etheric realms, forming a bridge between souls. These bridges aren't metaphorical constructs, but actual energy connections that can be strengthened or weakened by our consistent thought patterns and intentions. Cayce explained that we exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions. While our physical bodies operate in the three-dimensional world, our souls participate in a vast network of consciousness where distance holds no meaning. In this realm, attraction works through resonance rather than proximity. Two souls vibrating at compatible frequencies naturally gravitate toward each other, regardless of physical circumstances or barriers. In reading 24:4-1-3, Cayce addressed a woman struggling with a difficult relationship. "Know that you draw to yourself that which you are," he advised. "Not that which you want, but that which you are." This profound distinction reveals the first principle of Cayce's spiritual magnetism. Authentic being precedes attraction. We don't attract others through carefully constructed facades or strategic behaviors, but through the genuine essence of who we are at a soul level. This understanding challenges our conventional approach to relationships. Many spend countless hours perfecting their appearance, rehearsing clever conversations, or strategizing ways to appear interesting or desirable. Yet Cayce suggested these external efforts miss the fundamental mechanism of true attraction, the alignment of our inner spiritual vibration with our authentic self. Cayce's readings repeatedly emphasize that our thoughts create tangible energy patterns. "Thoughts are things," he would say, "and these things have substance in the spiritual realms. When focused with intention toward another person, they create what Cayce called thought forms that can actually be perceived by the other person's subconscious mind. This explains those moments when you think intensely about someone, and soon after, they call or contact you. The connection isn't coincidental but causal. Your focused thought created an energetic link their soul recognized." But Cayce was clear that not all thoughts create the same magnetic pull. Thoughts rooted in fear, neediness, or manipulation generate a repulsive force rather than an attractive one. This explains why desperately wanting someone's attention often pushes them away instead. The magnetic principle operates on spiritual authenticity, not emotional intensity. "What you sow, you reap," Cayce would remind seekers, applying this universal principle to the subtle energetics of human connection. The vibrations we send outward through our thoughts, emotions, and intentions return to us through the people and circumstances we attract. This means that the true trick to drawing someone closer isn't a technique at all, but a state of being that magnetizes similar energies. For Edgar Cayce, the heart played a central role in this magnetic process. Not the physical heart, but what he called the heart center, the spiritual core where our deepest values, intentions, and capacity for unconditional love reside. When we operate from this center, rather than from the ego, we generate a magnetic field of extraordinary power. In one particularly insightful reading, Cayce told a young man confused about his relationship prospects. First, find yourself, then you will be found by others. This seemingly simple advice contains the essence of spiritual magnetism. The primary relationship we must cultivate is with our own higher self. When we establish this connection, we naturally vibrate at a frequency that attracts those who resonate with our authentic nature. Cayce often suggested specific meditative practices to enhance one's spiritual magnetism. One involved visualizing a golden light emanating from the heart center, extending outward to embrace the person you wish to connect with. This wasn't manipulation, but rather creating a safe, energetic space where souls could commune without the interference of ego-based fears or desires. When you enter the silence, Cayce would instruct, visualize not what you want from another, but what you have to give. This crucial distinction separates spiritual magnetism from mere manifestation techniques. The highest form of attraction comes not from seeking to get something, but from offering your authentic gifts with no attachment to outcomes. Cayce's readings revealed that each soul carries a unique vibrational signature, something like a spiritual fingerprint. When we meet someone with whom we share soul resonance, whether from past life connections or compatible soul purposes, there's an immediate recognition beyond rational explanation. This recognition often manifests as that inexplicable feeling of having known someone forever, even when you've just met. Interestingly, Cayce suggested that some of our strongest magnetic pulls are toward souls with whom we have unfinished business from previous incarnations. These soul contracts create a powerful gravitational force drawing you together to continue your mutual evolution. Often, the people who trigger us most intensely are those with whom we share the deepest soul connections and opportunities for growth. Like attracts like in the spiritual realms, Cayce would explain, but sometimes opposites attract in the physical realm to create balance and growth. This paradox explains why we sometimes feel intensely drawn to people who seem completely different from us. At the soul level, there's a complementary pattern seeking expression and integration through the relationship. Cayce's readings were remarkably specific about how our various energy centers, what Eastern traditions call chakras, influence our spiritual magnetism. The heart center generates loving acceptance, the throat center creates truthful communication, and the third eye center facilitates intuitive understanding. When these centers function in harmonious alignment, our magnetic presence becomes extraordinarily powerful. For those seeking to enhance their spiritual magnetism, Cayce recommended regular periods of self-reflection and meditation. Quiet the body, still the mind, and the soul will speak, he advised. In this receptive state, we can identify and release the fear-based patterns that repel rather than attract meaningful connections. Cayce was particularly insightful about the role of forgiveness in magnetic attraction. Unforgiveness, he explained, creates energetic cords that bind us to others in dysfunctional patterns. By truly forgiving both others and ourselves, we sever these cords and free our energy to attract healthier connections. Hatred and animosity toward another, he warned in reading 52411, is a poison to the body and the soul. This poison diminishes our magnetic field and repels the very connections we might most desire. One fascinating aspect of Cayce's understanding was his explanation of why we sometimes feel an instantaneous attraction or aversion to strangers. According to his readings, our souls recognize each other across incarnations. That immediate comfort or discomfort is your soul's recognition system, alerting you to significant connections from your soul's journey. These soul memories operate below conscious awareness, but profoundly influence our magnetic responses to others. Cayce also addressed the mystery of unrequited connections. When we feel a strong pull towards someone who doesn't reciprocate, he suggested this might reflect an imbalance in soul development or timing. Rather than seeing this as rejection, He encouraged understanding it as a divine alignment. Sometimes connections aren't meant to manifest in the ways our personalities desire, but rather in the ways our souls need for growth. For those in committed relationships seeking to deepen their connection, Cayce recommended a practice of soul communion, setting aside time to connect not just physically or emotionally, but spiritually. This involved sitting quietly together, perhaps holding hands, and visualizing a shared light enveloping both partners. Many who tried this practice reported remarkable deepening of their intuitive connection and synchronicity in daily life. The body is the temple, Cayce would remind seekers, emphasizing that our physical vessel's condition influences our spiritual magnetism. He recommended specific dietary adjustments, particularly avoiding heavy foods that dampen spiritual sensitivity. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains support the subtle energetic body that radiates our magnetic presence. Even our posture affects our magnetic field. Walking upright with an open heart center allows energy to flow more freely. Perhaps most revolutionary was Cayce's insistence that true spiritual magnetism requires zero manipulation. Any attempt to make someone feel drawn to you inevitably backfires because it violates free will, a cornerstone principle in Cayce's spiritual framework. Instead, he advocated creating a clear channel for divine love to flow through you, trusting that this energy would naturally attract those connections most aligned with your highest good. The true secret of Cayce's spiritual magnetism isn't about drawing just anyone closer. It's about attracting those who resonate with your authentic soul vibration. This explains why, as people develop spiritually, they sometimes experience relationship transitions. As your vibration shifts, some connections naturally fall away, while new ones that match your evolved state appear almost magically. What makes Cayce's approach to spiritual magnetism particularly valuable is its ethical foundation. Unlike manipulation-based attraction methods, Cayce emphasized that true magnetic power comes from spiritual integrity. When we align with our highest self and divine purpose, we naturally draw experiences and relationships that support our soul's journey. This alignment creates what Cayce called the path of least resistance for manifestation in all areas, including relationships. What we now know about quantum entanglement offers fascinating parallels to Cayce's spiritual insights. Quantum physics has demonstrated that once particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of distance. A change in one instantaneously affects the other. Cayce seemed to intuitively understand this principle decades before science confirmed it, applying it to human consciousness and connection. In the most profound sense, Cayce revealed that spiritual magnetism isn't something we need to acquire, but something we need to unveil. The magnetic force already exists within each soul. Our task is simply to remove the barriers of fear, false identity, and limiting beliefs that prevent its natural expression. When these obstacles dissolve, our authentic magnetic presence emerges effortlessly. So what exactly is Edgar Cayce's spiritual magnetism trick mentioned in our title? The profound irony is that it isn't a trick at all, but rather a fundamental realignment with spiritual truth. The real secret lies in the counterintuitive understanding that we attract not by grasping or pursuing, but by becoming so completely ourselves that those who resonate with our authentic frequency are naturally drawn into our orbit. This brings us to the central revelation of Cayce's teachings on spiritual connection. The most powerful magnetic force in the universe is unconditional love. Not the sentimental emotion often mistaken for love, but the profound spiritual force that accepts without judgment, gives without expectation, and recognizes the divine essence in every soul. When we cultivate this quality of love, first toward ourselves, then extending to others, we activate what Cayce called the Christ consciousness within. This elevated state of being generates a magnetic field so powerful that it can indeed pull someone closer without touching. Not through manipulation or technique, but through the irresistible attraction of a soul aligned with its highest purpose and vibration. In reading 2794-1, Cayce explained this principle. For each soul is drawn to that which is the ideal of its expression, and attracts to itself that which is like unto itself. The key word here is ideal, not our personality's fleeting desires, but our soul's recognition of what truly serves its highest evolution. When we attune to this ideal within ourselves, we naturally attract relationships that reflect and support it. Cayce's readings consistently emphasized that the most magnetic quality is genuine spiritual service. When we focus on how we can contribute to others' well-being rather than what we can get from them, we activate a magnetic power beyond ordinary attraction. This paradox, that giving rather than taking generates the strongest pull, reveals the divine logic operating in spiritual magnetism. The practical application of Cayce's wisdom begins with a simple but profound practice: spending time each day in silence, connecting with your higher self, and visualizing yourself as a clear channel for divine love. From this centered state, you naturally emanate a frequency that draws resonant souls toward you. No manipulation, no desperate pursuit, just authentic, spiritual presence. For those seeking to heal difficult relationships, Cayce offered this guidance. Hold the vision of the highest potential you can see in the other person, regardless of their current behavior. This practice creates an energetic template that actually helps the other person step into their higher self. We literally help others become their best selves by holding that vision with unwavering faith. Ultimately, Edgar Cayce's spiritual magnetism isn't about techniques or strategies. It's about remembering who we truly are as spiritual beings having a human experience. When we live from this remembrance, our relationships transform from games of pursuit and avoidance into sacred partnerships serving each soul's highest evolution. In this divine dance of spiritual magnetism, we discover the true meaning of connection beyond physical proximity, the soul communion that transcends all barriers of time and space. In the end, the most powerful way to pull someone closer without touching is simply to be fully present, completely authentic, and radiantly alive in your own spiritual truth. This magnetic presence creates a field of possibility where souls can meet in their essence, beyond the limitations of physical interaction. As Cayce would say, the greatest force is love, and love is God in action. As we conclude this exploration of Edgar Cayce's spiritual magnetism, consider how these principles might transform your own relationships. Perhaps the connection you've been seeking isn't found through reaching outward, but by going deeper within. The magnetic pull you wish to create may simply be waiting for you to align with your authentic spiritual essence. Take a moment today to sit in silence, connect with your heart center, and visualize yourself as a clear channel for divine love. Notice what shifts in your energy field and in your interactions with others. The subtle realms respond instantly to our intentions and vibrations, sometimes even before our conscious mind registers the change. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Edgar Cayce's wisdom. If these insights resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and deeply value your reflections. Your engagement helps these spiritual truths reach others who might benefit from them. If you'd like to explore more of Edgar Cayce's profound teachings on relationships, consciousness, and spiritual growth, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Each week, we delve into another aspect of his remarkable insights, translating ancient wisdom into practical guidance for modern living. Remember, the greatest magnetic force doesn't come from what you do, but from who you are in your most authentic essence. In the words of Edgar Cayce himself, "For it is not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord."